All right, so if you think about it, the story of how we all got here, it's like this massive detective story, right? The clues are scattered across millions of years, buried in dust and rock. And today, we're going to be the detectives. We're going to piece together the evidence and investigate how we became human.
Okay, let's just get right to the heart of the mystery. What was it? What was that one single thing, that first domino to fall, that sent our ancient relatives down a completely different path from all the other apes?
And here's the twist. You might think it was some big brain genius moment or a brilliant new invention, but nope. The very first thing, the trait that kick-started everything else that makes us who we are, was just standing up.
So this whole walking tall thing, known as bipedalism, this is our clue number one. It is the absolute foundation that the entire human story is built on.
I mean, just look at the difference here. This wasn't a minor tweak. It was a total teardown and rebuild of the skeleton. On the left, you've got a skeleton built for life on four limbs, but on the right, for us, the pelvis gets reshaped into a bowl, the spine gets that S-curve. It's all part of this incredible balancing act to keep our entire body weight over just 2 feet. This was our first giant leap.
So, why the big change? Why go through all that trouble? Well, as the world changed and forests in Africa started to shrink, standing tall suddenly became a superpower. You could see predators coming from farther away. It was way more fuel efficient for covering long distances to find food. And maybe the most important part, it freed up our hands to carry stuff like food, babies, and, eventually, tools. Okay, so we've got our scene, we know what happened. Now it's time to bring in the lineup of our prime suspects, the first hominins to really master this new way of walking. Let's meet the australopiths. These guys are the main characters in our story's first chapter.
And Exhibit A, our star witness, has to be Lucy. Found back in 1974, her skeleton is just incredible. She was a total puzzle. She had this tiny, ape-sized brain, but when you looked at her bones from the waist down, they were screaming human-like. This was the proof that we were walking long before we were thinking big thoughts.
And if you want the forensic proof, the real smoking gun, just look at the knee. See how an ape's thigh bone goes straight down? Well, Lucy's, just like ours, angles inward. That little detail, that angle, is what lets us plant one foot directly in front of the other and walk smoothly. It meant she wasn't waddling around like a chimp, she was striding.
But if Lucy's bones are the smoking gun, this is like finding a photograph from the past. These are real footprints from 3.6 million years ago, captured in volcanic ash. You can see 2, maybe 3 of our ancestors, just taking a walk. The arch, the heel strike, no splayed out big toe. It's undeniable.
And you can just imagine the feeling of finding something like this. It's a direct connection to our deepest, most ancient past. As Donald Johanson, Lucy's discoverer, put it, it is impossible to describe what it feels like. It fills you right up. It really does.
Okay, so we've established how our ancestors moved. The next question in any good investigation is motive. Why were their bodies changing? For that, the next set of clues is hidden in their mouths. We got to look at their teeth.
For a paleoanthropologist, teeth are like a diary written in enamel. You see the ape jaw on one side. It's U-shaped, with those huge, intimidating canine teeth used for fighting. Now compare that to the australopith. The canines are way smaller. That tells us something huge is changing in their diet, and probably in how they dealt with each other, with a lot less aggression.
And this pressure to find new foods actually led to a fork in our family tree. On the left, you have what we call a gracile or slender australopith. But on the right, whoa, that's a robust one. This lineage went all in on chewing. They developed these massive molars and giant cheekbones to anchor huge jaw muscles. They were the ultimate chewing machines, specializing in tough plants. A fascinating experiment, but one that ultimately didn't make it.
So while the robust australopiths were busy grinding away, another group was, well, they were getting smarter. Around 2.5 million years ago, a new player walks onto the stage, and this one changes everything. Our own genus, Homo. And here is the evidence, plain and simple. The brain of an australopithus was about 450 cubic centimeters, not much bigger than a modern chimp's. But with the arrival of early Homo, boom, we see a significant jump up to an average of 650. This brain boost was about to trigger a revolution. And this is what that looks like in real life, not just on a chart. This skull is a classic example of early Homo. You can literally see the change. The brain case is rounder, fuller. The face is a bit flatter. That's the skull physically expanding to make room for a bigger, more powerful brain.
Okay, so you've got a bigger brain, so what? What do you do with it? Well, that leads us to our final and maybe most important piece of evidence, the real smoking gun that tells us culture has officially arrived, the first stone tools.
Now, I know what you're thinking. It looks like a rock. But this Oldowan chopper from 2.6 million years ago was the iPhone of its day. It was an absolute game changer. Taking one rock and hitting it with another to create a sharp edge, that simple idea opened up an entirely new menu.
But here's where the story gets another crazy twist. Using powerful microscopes, these forensic experts, they're called taphonomists, can tell the difference between the clean, sharp V-shaped slice from a stone tool and the messy U-shaped groove left by a lion's tooth.
So, when scientists looked really closely at ancient animal bones, what did they find? The tool marks were often made on top of the carnivore tooth marks. This totally flips the old script of man the hunter. It looks like our earliest tool-making ancestors were actually brilliant scavengers, letting the big predators do the dangerous work and then swooping in with their new tech to get the leftovers.
So, let's recap the case. We stood up, which changed our bodies. We changed our diet, which changed our faces. Then our brains got bigger, which gave us technology. They had the body, the brains, and the tools. Our ancestors were no longer just another animal in Africa. They were ready to take on the entire world. The only question left was what would they do next?